Happy New Year. Happy 2025. Honestly, I just I don't see how it's going to be a happy one. There will be moments of happiness throughout the year, and for the record, personally, everything for me is fine to good to great. This is not like a personal thing. It's just I've got a lot of dread over what the future means for my country and my world. Gotta be honest, never went through school and thought, ooh, I'd like to try that fascism out. Let's see what fascism is like. Ooh. I never really thought, you know what our country needs? It needs to be more of an oligarchy. That was never a wish for me. So, how can we look forward to a new year when we're also preparing for the unknown? I mean, I guess we're always preparing for the unknown, but the problem is that we do kind of already know, and it's going to be bad, and food's going to be more expensive. Everything is going to be more expensive than ever. Okay, moving on. Moving on, but not too far. Because what I want to talk about is mental health. And before you are worried, this is not sponsored. I do not have nearly enough followers for that to even be on the radar. But no, this is not a sponsored post in any single way. Obviously, if you can access and afford therapy, I don't think it's a bad thing. It's always good to be able to talk through things. This is not even about therapy. This is more about me being proactive with my personal mental health because I actually have been in a very good spot. 2024 was a pretty good year for me. There's a few different reasons why 2024 was a good year for me. I'd been trying to make like the perfect bird shape for a long time, and I finally did it. And I had the pattern developed. So took the jump and I started in Etsy. And the combination of being productive and putting something out in the world and also like resaving just a little bit of money back. I have not in any way paid for my yarn. I don't know if that will ever happen. I just buy too much yarn. But like the money that I get isn't enough to live on, but it's something. And I really miss having a job. I mean, I've had some bad jobs that I don't miss, but I've had some great jobs that I miss. And that's the thing is people need to feel useful and seen, and work is a way to do that. So it was really good for my mental health to have a job. So I've been working on creating more patterns to put into that, and that's something that I want to do more of next year is make more patterns. But obviously I don't want I just need, I need the ideas and I need the time. But one of the biggest things that's helped me this year and actually has had a knock-on effect for everything else that's been good for me. And once again, this is not an ad. They did not pay me to say anything. And they do they sent out a coupon code to like share with people. So I'll put that in the description because if you want to try it, I want you to try it for less money because it is an expense. But I was desperate earlier this year, and because I just been so like partly brain scattered. I have been having a hard time like focusing, and I'm having a hard time with the, you know, executive functioning of being able to do all the things that I want to do instead of being stuck at the hurdles along the way. And I have been probably would be PMDD symptoms I don't have any sort of diagnosis, but I've been dealing with increased like rage before my period, and like increased depression and anxiety just in general, but especially as my period was coming, I'd wake up at like 3 a.m. and doom spiral with just the darkest of thoughts. And it got to the point where like I could hear these thoughts in my brain and then think, "Oh, that's a real dark thought. Must be my period is coming." Like, okay, like that calculation that checks out. So that's why I'm having these thoughts, and that helps. It helps to be able to say, "Whoa, that's a dark thought, and it'll pass. It's just because your period is coming." But it still is not pleasant to be stuck in this doom spiral every month. And so, what else? Yeah. And yeah, just general, weepiness and whatnot. So I tried going on the pill to relieve some of these symptoms, and it did not do anything to help me. In fact, it just gave me a really long period instead. So got off of that just about as quickly as I got on it. I think I had like a 2-month trial prescription, and then after that, I was like, nope, this is not helpful. And I was really desperate. I was really desperate because just my brain was taking me to such dark places, and I didn't want that for myself. So I started getting Facebook ads for Jubilance, which is a PMS drug medication. I mean, it's practically a glorified vitamin, but I was getting so many ads for it, and like everything that I could see looked good and promising, but it's an investment. It's more money than I really have to spend because I don't make any money, but at the same time, if it actually gave my life back, then it would be worth it. So so I tried for 1 month. I ordered 1 month to try it, and immediately, like, my brain switched on. Like, executive functioning solved. Like, all these things that I wanted to do. Like, it was almost that I was going too fast. I was worrying. My brain was worrying too much because I had such a backlog of things that I just hadn't been able to do because my executive functioning got in the way. Not like a frantic, like, oh, I gotta do all this stuff, or like, oh, I can't sleep because I'm just go go go. It was more just like there weren't road there weren't the roadblocks. The roadblocks weren't stopping me. I could say, oh, yeah, we'll just do this and we'll go around it, or we'll just like it just the the freeway opened up and I was able to go and do things. And I don't know that I would have been able to set up an Etsy and finish patterns and make more patterns and do all the things that I did this year if it weren't for Jubilance. So it cleared up the executive functioning right away, and immediately, like, my social anxiety was so much better. Like, all the anxiety that I felt all the time, so much better. Like, I realized just how anxious I was before. Like, it's just the way life is. But then suddenly it's like, oh no, no, it's not the way it has to be. Like, it cleared up so much anxiety, and because my anxiety is generally lower, I'm living with less stress in general. And so it didn't fix my MCS. I still have multiple chemical sensitivity, but because multiple chemical sensitivity like snowballs, and being triggered by one thing makes it you get more and more triggered by other things. So the reason why I had to stop working and going out into the world is because I was always up here. So every time I encountered anything, it was like a catastrophic event for my body. So then being in isolation brought things down to where it was more manageable. Like, it would take more to get to catastrophic event. I've still like gotten there a few times from various exposures, but generally I'm like running about here. But then once we have all the stress from all the anxiety and I don't know what else is going on in my body, once that's taken out of the equation, like things that would normally trigger me, they don't. So it didn't fix the MCS, but it has helped the MCS. So all around, great. But then that time came where I would be ragey, or I would be waking up in 3 a.m. with doom spirals. And I still woke up at 3 a.m. because, sometimes your body clock is just mean to you. But I didn't doom spiral. So that's the difference that it's made, is like I don't feel ragey nearly as often. I think I've had like feelings of rage maybe like once in the 6 months or so that I have been doing this. I don't remember when I started, but like I don't get ragey. I don't have as much depressive thing. I need water. Don't have it near me. So it's cleared up so many of those symptoms, and I still do have like cramps. It doesn't take away your period, and it doesn't take away all that comes along with it, but it did take away the things that made my period nightmarish. It took away the things that made my period honestly scary. So before that month was up, I wanted to cry thinking about if I had to go back and not have that in my life anymore. So I had a chat with my partner, because he's got a good enough job that I don't have to work, and we're grateful for that. But I still like don't want to be like, you need to spend like $50 a month just so that I'm not crabby all the time. I'm sure it's a worthwhile investment for him as well as me, but like it needs to be a conversation. So we had that conversation, and he agreed to pay for it because it's just too big of a bill to come out of my nothing. And yeah, like great. And then the biggest challenge to just the general like euphoria that it has given me has been the election, because I was hopefully optimistic that everyone saw what happened. Everyone saw January 6th. Everyone saw just the complete lack of character and just the first time that he was elected, I think I cried for like a month, just worrying about what it would mean for people that I loved and for this place that I loved. And this time, not gonna say that I was happy, not gonna say that I haven't felt the deep sadness and anger and just unquantifiable feelings. Just so many varied feelings about this. But it's like I'm a bobber on the ocean, and where before like a wave would knock me under and I would sink, I can dip under, but I pop back up. And that's the difference that it's made, is that I've managed to stay, about here instead of going down here. So, we've been tried. And also, always a challenge for me is holidays, Christmas, and my birthday. And Christmas was kind of okay. My birthday, I did dip under, but as soon as it wasn't my birthday anymore, I popped it back up. So it's not a miracle worker, but it's also like it feels like a miracle because it's really it's really taken a lot of stuff and made it better. So it's great, and I can't live without it. But it also doesn't mean that I can take my mental health for advantage, because it's still something that needs to be something that I work on and work towards and am vigilant about. So things that I need to do in 2025 for my own personal mental health is I want to get back in the garden. Last year was so great because I just produced so much and made so much, and that was amazing. But it also I I really didn't do a good job balancing things last year. So I made a lot of stuff and I was like, I can't stop crocheting. I feel like I just crocheted. Like most of 2024 was just a blur of yarn because it feels like all I did was crochet. And if you look at the state of my house, you'd think maybe all she did was crochet because I fell behind on my chores. I have a system. I have a system in which I just like there's a few things that I do each day and a few things I do each week to stay on top of things. So every day I do a load of dishes, I do a load of laundry, and then I do a special weekly tidy where it's usually something like clean the bathroom, clean the kids' room, clean the living room, that sort of thing. Um, and then exercise. What is going on? Oh, we're about to overheat because I have chatted too much. And and then like a couple of extra 5-minute tidies I throw in that. And that works really well to keep me on track. And when I don't do it, then everything gets harder and it's harder to stay on top of it. And I need to stay on top of it this year. So I used to have rainbow hearts that I'd get a color each day, and it was really motivating for me to do that. And then all my hearts disappeared because you got a child and they take things. Um, so I made rainbow clouds to stay on top of it now, and I need to get back in the garden. Last year I did not do a good job in the garden, and I was out in the garden picking some flowers, and this old lady walked by on the sidewalk and she said, "Did you just not do a garden this year?" And it hurt me so bad. Like I just didn't do a good job. But I also like it's hard to go outside when it might be hot or stinky outside. So I also want to put a little more effort into getting my hydroponic garden situation improved, which we will come to in a future video. And also, I fell off of the exercise train like in August, and I did a good job getting back into it in December, but I need to make sure I stay on top of that because for me, gotta pick things up and put things down. That really helps me work out any feelings that I have. I just love being strong. And honestly, like I'm gonna have a lot of feelings in 2025 I need to put somewhere, and I'm gonna put them into my weights. So that's one thing I'm going to work on, which will also be another video. But that's my spiel is, hey, let's do the things we need to do to take care of our bodies and our environment and our brains. But yeah, see you next week. In the meantime, keep it cozy. Bye.